Look at almost any price tag, advertisement, or receipt, and you will see the exact same digit staring back at you. Studies analyzing retail advertising show that roughly 60% of all listed prices end in a 9. The traditional explanation for this points to early retail security. When shop owners first introduced mechanical tills, like the vintage cash register shown here, pricing an item at 99 cents forced the cashier to open the drawer to hand back a penny in change, preventing employees from simply pocketing a dollar bill. By the 1920s, a Czech shoe manufacturer named Thomas Botja realized this odd pricing strategy did something else entirely. It made his shoes sell significantly faster than his competitors. He aggressively rolled out fractional prices across his entire company to edge them out. We tend to view this tactic as a historical quirk that stuck around. Modern behavioral economics, however, reveals that these 9-ending prices trigger predictable glitches in human neurology. They are an active, targeted hack of our biology. This exploit has scaled across the globe and into almost every industry. Even on these vintage Gulf gas pumps, you can see fractional cent pricing deeply rooted in everyday life. We know it's a trick, yet it bypasses our rational defenses completely. That 1 cent difference systematically alters our perception of value, regardless of the negligible impact on our actual bank account. The glitch starts with the mechanics of human reading. In Western cultures, we process numbers sequentially, starting from the left and moving to the right. Because our brains try to evaluate information as quickly as possible, we rely on a cognitive shortcut called the anchoring heuristic. When we compare multi-digit numbers, the leftmost digits carry heavily disproportionate weight in our split-second judgment. This diagram shows how the brain maps the magnitude distance between $1.99 and $3 based exclusively on those leading numbers. Even though $1.99 is mathematically only 1 cent away from $2, anchoring forces your brain to perceive the gap as being closer to a full dollar. As your eyes move past that first digit, you subconsciously ignore the least significant numbers. You see the cents, but instead of doing the proper rounding, your brain simply discards them. The human mind prioritizes processing speed over mathematical accuracy. Retailers know this, and they price items exactly 1 cent lower to drop that leftmost digit, stepping right into that cognitive blind spot. How we read numbers is only half the equation. The other half is how we evaluate our options. According to prospect theory, consumers do not judge a price in a vacuum. They evaluate the cost against an internal mental reference point. Parting with resources is inherently uncomfortable. Studies show that spending money activates the insular cortex, a region of the brain that processes literal physical pain. Researchers call this the pain of paying. This graph illustrates how a consumer establishes a whole number reference point, say a flat $20. When the price tag actually reads $19.99, that 1 cent drop creates a sharp dip below the reference point, visually defining the gap not as a loss of wealth, but as a specific gain. That perceived gain travels straight to the nucleus accumbens, the brain's reward center. The minor discount acts as an anesthetic, releasing enough dopamine to functionally neutralize the pain of paying that was firing in the insular cortex. That terminal 9 neurologically mimics the feeling of winning a negotiation, converting a painful loss of resources into a biological reward. When you multiply this biological quirk across millions of consumers, it dictates the mathematical equilibrium for entire markets. Game theory suggests that rational shoppers mentally replace the trailing digits of a price with an estimated average for all goods. Because of this, any retailer who charges a round number is leaving revenue on the table without actually changing consumer behavior. To survive, sellers are forced to use odd pricing. This logic extends far beyond retail. In consumer finance, mortgage lenders use tiny fractional changes, like dropping an APR from 6.00% to 5.98%, to manipulate borrower sentiment. It compresses the reality of complex, long-term interest payments into a single, highly appealing left digit. In financial markets, this effect actively destabilizes trading. Researchers track massive imbalances in the stock market simply because investors execute aggressive excess buying when share prices sit at $1.99 compared to round numbers just a penny higher, skewing 24-hour market returns. Public policy hinges on the exact same exploit. Studies on smoking cessation show a sharp decrease in adult motivation to smoke when a tax hike pushes the price of a pack of cigarettes from $4.99 to exactly $5. a single penny determines massive behavioral shifts. The 9 on a price tag represents a perfectly engineered illusion, extracting wealth by leveraging the biological limitations of how we read.